Hello, everybody. Okay, so like I'm actually like unironically, I'm like super pumped about this game, and I'm a little annoyed that I'm not coaching this year because this is like my favorite year. This topic is super cool and awesome. First things first, everyone should be aware that this is the site that you should have when you are uh doing anything this year. That's like if you've done FRC or FTC, it's like your standard season material thing. If you scroll down, actually, let me just screen share because I can do that, which is awesome. Uh, it'll bring you to this website. If you scroll down, you get to the first Lego League challenge, which has all of the stuff for the year. So super exciting, super cool. Um, I'll be talking about things like in the context of as if you are mentoring. So we'll also do some material that I've done in the past with some of my students. Just and then like obviously you don't have to do that. Like it's purely just like a uh like if you find it helpful, you can adapt it for your teams. So yeah, let's get started and let's watch the game video. Oh, actually, hold on. Before that, there's actually a very big change in this year for FLL. Typically, or in previous years, you would have to do three presentations during your judging session. You would have to do the innovation project presentation, the robot design presentation, and then the core values presentation. This year, they changed it. Where's the hello, please? Where? Hold on. It should be in the judging. All right, there we go. This year they changed it. There is no more core values presentation. Uh, so you go from innovation project to the innovation project Q&A, the robot design Q&A, and then that's it. And then you have like just like basically open talking time, which is like super exciting. In my opinion, this is a positive change, but so like if you're used to in the past having to prepare like the core values presentation, you no longer have to do that. And this is reflected in the rubrics because some of the things that you are graded on are actually count for both the section it's in as well as core values. So for example, all the ones with the little gears count for both whatever sheet it's on, whether it be innovation project or robot design. And it will count for core values. So really big change. Super cool. We're gonna go back to the innovation project afterwards because I figure that that's probably something that you guys are probably less interested in than the robot game, which is robotics competition. So let's watch the robot game. Oh my gosh. Let me know if you guys cannot hear. I think the audio should work, but we'll just run through it. And if you guys can't hear.
This is the submerged competition field. There are 15 missions that can be done in any order. You do not have to complete all the missions. Just try as many as you can in each 2.5-minute robot match. Only the score from your best match will be counted. Your robot must start completely inside a launch area, and you should program it to return to either home area. You can handle and modify your robot between runs while it's completely inside either home area. Gracious professionalism is how we express our core values in First LEGO League. The robot game is an important place to observe gracious professionalism, and the referees will evaluate this for your team at each official robot match. Equipment inspection. Your robot and all your equipment must fit into both launch areas and under a height limit of 12 inches. If it is small enough to fit in just one launch area and under this height limit, your team will score points. Mission 1, Coral Nursery. Set up the nursery to grow new coral until they are strong enough for the transport to the reef. If the coral tree is hanging on the coral tree support, bonus, and the bottom of the coral tree is in its holder. If the coral buds are flipped up, Mission 2, Shark. Track this tagged shark on its journey to new feeding grounds. If the shark is no longer touching the cave, if the shark is touching the mat, and it is at least partly in the shark habitat. Mission 3, Coral Reef. Carefully mount the new coral structure without damaging other nearby flora. If the coral reef is flipped up, not touching the mat. If a reef segment is standing upright outside of home and touching the mat. Mission 4, Scuba Diver. Help the scuba diver transport new coral from the nursery to the reef. If the scuba diver is no longer touching the coral nursery. If the scuba diver is hanging on the coral reef support. Mission 5, Anglerfish. Scare the anglerfish back into its home within the sunken shipwreck. If the anglerfish is latched within the shipwreck. Mission 6, Raise the mast. Raise the mast to restore the sunken shipwreck and explore what's inside. If the shipwreck's mast is completely raised. Mission 7, Kraken's Treasure. Retrieve the chest from the shipwreck to recover a piece of our history. If the treasure chest is completely outside the Kraken's nest. Mission 8, Artificial Habitat. Rearrange the artificial habitat stacks to create safe homes for sea creatures in this area. If an artificial habitat stack segment is completely flat and upright. Mission 9, Unexpected Encounter. Investigate the hydrothermal vent and deliver the sea creature that takes a special interest in you to the cold seep. If the unknown creature is released. If the unknown creature is at least partly in the cold seep. Mission 10, Send over the submersible. Sometimes you need a specialized vehicle to withstand the immense pressure of the deep. Send the submersible to explore the opposing field's waters. If your team's yellow flag is down. If the submersible is clearly closer to the opposing field. Mission 11, Sonar Discovery. Use the ship's sonar technology to scan the surroundings for nearby objects or animals. If one whale is revealed, bonus if both whales are revealed. Mission 12, Feed the whale. Krill are a whale's favorite food. Collect the krill and feed them to the hungry whale. Krill at least partly in the whale's mouth. Mission 13, Changing shipping lanes. Adjust the cargo ship's route to safely avoid whale migration paths by moving to another shipping lane. If the ship is in the new shipping lane, touching the mat. Mission 14, Sample Collection. Collect samples and artifacts from different locations in the ocean so they can be analyzed by scientists in the lab. If the water sample is completely outside the water sample area, if the seabed sample is no longer touching the seabed, if the plankton sample is no longer touching the kelp forest, if a piece of the trident is no longer touching the shipwreck, bonus, if both pieces are no longer touching the shipwreck. Mission 15, Research Vessel. Deliver the samples and artifacts that your team has collected to the research vessel and securely dock it at the port. If any of the following are at least partly in the research vessel's cargo area: treasure chest, trident parts, each sample. if the port's latch is at least partly in the research vessel's loop. Precision tokens. The less you interrupt your robot outside home, the more points you will keep. If you interrupt your robot outside the home area, you will lose a precision token. Precision tokens left on the field at the end of the match will result in extra points. Remember to read the robot game rulebook and check for any updates during the season. Good luck!
Okay, so in my opinion, this year is wildly more difficult than like the previous 2 or 3 years. There's like a lot of little itty bitty bits of things to do. This is also I think this is one of the first times that the last time there was a there's like a mission that like crossed the field, or crossed into the opponent's field that like you could prevent them from earning points. I think it was like City Shaper. Typically that's not the case. So this is very cool. There's actually like a competitive and strategic aspect to it. Typically, yeah, the bridge, exactly. But this is the first time since then. So it's cool. It's exciting. Typically what I like to do with my students is like, for those of you in FRC and FTC without FLL experience, right? Like the video mentioned at the very beginning, you don't have to do everything, right? Like your goal is to get as many points as possible within the 2.5 minutes that you have. So typically the first thing to do is to just like pick which missions you want to do. A very quick way of doing this, so what I like to do with my students is we would typically go through the field like very hands-on, just to see like how difficult it is to like physically do each mission. And then based off of several criteria, then we sort them into 3 separate categories. The first one being like we should do this, the second one being we should try to do this, and the last one being because sometimes things are just not worth the effort. Let me go to, I guess I'll do my personal one. Okay. So what actually, no, I should pull it up from what my previous one is. Hold up. Where is my robotics? Where's my, hold on. It's been a while since I've, okay. From 20, yeah, we'll use this one. Sure, why not? Let me duplicate this. Great. Can I duplicate? Great. $2024. So typically what I like doing is we break down what each mission is, whether they are like mutually exclusive with each other, and what kinds of actuation does it require to complete the mission. Recently I've also done, I used to also do like near and close, and this is an old one, so it's a little different, but it's fine. In fact, I will get rid of this column. Difficulty is silly. Okay, so the document you guys all should have and should be constantly referencing when you're doing, especially this section, is the robot game rulebook. Can I hide this like zoom bar? Can it go away? Oh, yep, I can move it to a different monitor. Beautiful. So we go through it in, oh wow, the aesthetics. Gosh, so aesthetic. Love that. So for M01, and let me change this to share my entire monitor. New share, screen 1, share. Okay. Great. Okay. Screen share 2. Right, is that we'll typically go through each one. It is very important that you guys do your best when you are talking with your students to try to ensure that the first thing that they do is like they talk about the missions with the same with like their official names. It is much easier for your students. It is much easier for like the kids to communicate with the referees, with the judges, and frankly with each other if everyone is using the correct terminology. Otherwise, you'll be like, there'll be a lot of miscommunications and it'll be annoying. So the first one would be floral tree hanging from support. That gets you 10. Sorry, 20. And then so for this one,
Coral board.
It ostensibly looks like just a loop.
If the coral tree is
right, because there's a nice little like purpose-made handle for you to pick up the entire piece of coral and put it onto the hook. But it also, because of the way that it sits on the ground, you can actually build like maybe a little fork, so like something with prongs, and you can just kind of flip it up, right? So in theory, it could be a loop. This is a lift. It requires some testing because it's not right. Like it's going to be a little tricky, but it should be doable. I don't think there needs to be any details for that. Actually, can make an attachment that lifts the coral's midsection rather than the loop itself. Unless a mission very explicitly in the robot game Roblox says you can only complete a mission a certain way, you can manipulate it however you want. So yeah, there's that. And then I'll put another one below that. Is it below? Hang it. Coral tree hanging from support, still in base. That's another 10, right? And I'll just copy this down here because they're basically the same thing. And personally, when it's actually, yeah, I'll do this. Personally, what I like doing is if there's something where it's kind of identical, what I would do is I color them or I'd shade them in a certain color. That way I only know, like, I would have to choose one or the other. So I would shade it like green, like that, and that way I know, okay, these two are mutually exclusive with each other. I can only score one of them. If the coral buds are flipped up, so that's a separate one. So I'll do another one below. I'd remove the coloring from that and then just say coral buds flipped up. 20. That looks to be just a lift, I think.
If the coral buds,
I lied. The opposite of a lift. It's a push. Well, not opposite, but it's a push. All right, that's a push. Lever comes in from the east. And then I would just do this for all of it. I think it would be monstrously boring for you guys to just watch me go through everything. So that I would just do this. And you do this for two reasons. One, it's a good idea, or you don't have to do this exactly, but doing something where you go through the missions and try to figure out which ones you want to do first, is useful for two reasons. And like documenting it is useful for two reasons. One, it makes sure that all the kids are like very cognizant of the decisions that you're making. Like, why are we doing this mission? Well, we've all discussed it, we've talked about it, and we're trying to aim for this set of points or doing these easy ones. It gets them to think about the game really early, even before they started building anything. And the second thing is documentation is really important because when you go into the judging room, some of the criteria that you have are in robot design would be like clear evidence of mission strategy and clear evidence that all team members contributed ideas. Detailed explanation of process. I don't know about lessons learned. That I don't know about that in here, but process. Right, like all of like this kind of activity will very strongly help your team demonstrate these aspects in the judging room. You don't have to do it, like I said, you don't have to do it in this specific structure, right? But doing some kind of mission selection process and documenting it, very important. Some things to note that I think are probably a good idea to mention while looking at this is that, like, even though like the coral buds are in mission 1, right? Like, I think anyone with FLL experience, right, for like a very simple robot, for like your basic robot, you would not do both lifting the coral and pushing up the buds in the same one, right? Like, that's too much. That's really annoying, right? The mission groupings are mainly for like organization of like points. You don't need to do all aspects of a mission at a single time. Another thing is being very specifically, let's look at here. Let me look at the rulings for this. So, using the ship's sonar technology to scan the surroundings for nearby objects or animals. It says, like, if the whales are revealed. And I'm gonna look for like exceptions to the rule. However, it doesn't actually say you need to use the yellow bar to like reveal the whales. And if you see the actual mission itself, they consist of a bunch of like L beams. So if your robot just pushes the L beams down, like you don't need to actually use the yellow bar, right? Like it's completely not required. That's what I mean when I say like you can like accomplish the missions basically in any way that the rules allow. You can be very creative. Yeah. If I had to judge, and I'll look at this through the field. Do they have a field map yet? Criminy. No. Is this helpful? I guess this is good enough for now. A very good structure for your missions, and again, I'm aiming for like most accessible, right? Because like very, very advanced teams or very experienced teams will have their own process for doing this. But if you have, if you're just like, if you're like relatively inexperienced or your kids are younger, a very easy structure to take is start in one side, do as many missions as possible, go to the other side, drop as many, do like one mission on the way, and then do all the missions from that side. Your robot can start in either one, it doesn't matter. And the major rule is that like you can't like pick up the robot from red and then like throw it over to your teammates in blue. You actually need to run code that runs it across the field for that. Otherwise, it costs you a precision token. When you're analyzing for the missions to do, generally, what you want to do is you first want to figure out what are the easy ones to accomplish. And the ones that you figure out that are easy to accomplish are ones with like very simple actions, as well as ones that are very like geographically geometrically close, right? FLL robots use Spike Prime, which at its best is finically accurate, right? So like it's gonna the further you go, the less accurate your robot is. So typically the closer missions tend to be easier. So it's not a bad idea to like kind of like radially go outwards and then go in terms of missions, in terms of like mission difficulty. once you have a couple of missions done, maybe 4 or 5, and this should be probably in, I don't know, I'd say like maybe early November. You should start stringing together the missions to figure out how to do them at the same time. So as an example, there was this thing, I forgot what it was called. The sample collection. Wait, is that the sample collection? That is the sample collection, right? I think that's a sample collection. Yeah, so like there's like the sample collection and then the coral nursery mission, right? So what you can do is you can grab the sample from here and then push in this mission and then go back home. And then you're going from like one mission, go out, come back, go out, come back, to doing multiple missions at once, because switching programs on the Spike and like resetting the robot physically is a very slow process. And the fewer times you actually have to touch a robot, the better. For people who don't know, there is a very good, and if you don't have access to Lego bricks on hand, there is a really good program called Studio. It's made by a company called Bricklink, which is like an online like Lego marketplace. Bricklink allows you to, it's a CAD program. It's a CAD program. So it makes it really easy for you to like do some like initial design ideas. I have not CAD'd the attachments for this. Hold up. Wait, what am I looking for? Panel? No, I'm looking for like the square beam. I don't even know what they're called. It's like a Technic frame. Hold on, give me 1 second. Frame? Let's just go with frame. Oh, yeah, it is. Gosh darn, that is awesome. Okay. The really nice thing is that you can is that I can like everything like snaps together really easily, right? So like if you have an attachment for this robot, I could just push this pin in and then slot here, and then I can start figuring out how I want to like attach gears onto it and all that. For those of you who are working with like really new teams, or even teams, I would say up to about 3 years of experience, if you don't already know, you should. A good recommendation, like there are lots of robots that are like available to you that other people have designed, but Spike Prime itself has a really good robot called the Advanced Driving Base. You need to buy the Spike Prime expansion set. You do need to buy this kit in order to build it, because the base Spike Prime set does not come with all the parts. But this robot is genuinely a really competent robot. It is what happened? It's genuinely like a really good robot. I am a big fan of it. It's very stable. It has a lot of expansion so that you can design your own attachments. And if you don't know how to design attachments, it actually gives you examples. It gives you a dozer blade, which is good for like pull and like very sturdy lift missions, and the lift arm, which is good for like loops, anything with loops, because you can just like flip the angled pieces here like 180, and then it like sticks straight into the ground. Or useful for like very like much more precise things because it's smaller. This robot is good. If you are like, I don't know how to design my own robot, or my kids are too young to understand how to build their own robot, use this robot. It's very good. As a part 2 to this, do not use this driving base. This driving base is the one that they use in the video as examples. It's also the robot that you can build if you don't have the expansion set. Do not build this robot. This robot sucks. It is hyper unstable, has 0 room for expansion, is like the most wobbly thing I've ever had to work with in my entire life. Like for people who were around when EV3 was a thing, EV3's robot was bad. This is worse. I have so much disdain in my soul for this one robot. Like all these driving base 1, 2, and 3s, they're garbage. If I could light it on fire, I would. Just to feel a spark of life again after having to use this for one of my teams. It was terrible. Please don't use it. I would recommend not saying that whole string of things when in your robot design presentation. But yeah, this program is really good, and you can like and this is like really important, like especially if you don't have the resources to be constantly building and testing things like in real life. This program is here for you. It is free. And the system requirements are pretty low, I want to say. Where? Oh, here it is. What? Download today. Okay. Yeah, like it runs on Windows 7 or like a Mac. So like if your kids are only on Chromebooks, you're a little stuck. But if you have any Windows or any Mac, this program works perfectly fine, and it's pretty easy to use as long as you set up the libraries on the side over here. Like I would get rid of a whole bunch of these and only star the I would get rid of a lot of these, and I would just hide a bunch of the ones that aren't necessary for your team. Basically everything that is not in like Technic or Technic Linker, Technic Functional, or like Vehicle. Everything else, like minifigures, like you don't need any of that for a robot. If you hide all of those pieces, it'll make it much easier for your students to find stuff. So yeah, that's like very big, like initial crash course into the robot game. Any questions? Anyone has anything interesting to say about this year? Honestly, this year looks so hard. Low key, robot game like innovation project wise, I'm sad I'm not coaching. Robot game wise, little bit of relief. Anyone have any questions, any thoughts that they want to share from like if you guys have your own prior experience with stuff? Anything? No? Okay. I will say that like if I had to do like if I had to do a very initial look for like the easiest missions, I'm definitely looking at one, 2, like 1, 2, 6, no, sorry, 1, 2, 6, 7, and probably 10. 10 and like 15. Yeah. Yeah, that maybe 13. 13 is a little dicey because
cargo ship's if the ship is in the new shipping lane.
Yeah, okay, not 13. I take it back, not 13. I think for like very, very new, it's gonna be rough. But yeah, 15, 10, 6, 7, and then 1 and 2. I think those are probably the easiest ones for this year. In my opinion, they are relatively well located, and the actual actions your robot has to do in order to accomplish them is like genuinely quite simple. The most complicated one is probably the 6 and 7 because you'd want to do them at the same time. And then but like because 6, like if you watch the video, 6 will lock in place.
If the treasure chest is if the shipwreck's mast is completely raised.
Because that locks in place, that makes it really easy for you to do like a single like lift, drive backwards, and then lower your arm and come back in to try to take the little treasure chest out. Along with all of these things, there is a score calculator which first has historically broken midway through the year. So like fingers crossed they don't break it this time. But currently it's working, which is cool. But the score calculator is good. It'll allow you to see how many points you can get. Let's see what the maximum score for this year is. This is exciting. Yes, yes. No longer touching. Yes. Lateral ship rest. Yes, yes. All of them. Sure, sure. Sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 Okay, maximum score is 600. Um, that's cool. I think that's a great number. It never works twice. No, dude, honestly, so true. Like, I don't understand how First is incapable of maintaining like a non-changing website. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool. I'm cool. It's fine. Wait, hold up. 620. 620 is the maximum score. Um, based on so like if we did all the missions that I said, so that would be 1, 2, not this, not this. Yes, yes, not this. Not this. Yes, not this. Not this. Ship is in the ship is in the shipping lane. No. It's not these. And then here. So there would be 0. 260 would be the score that the missions that I said should be pretty easy to do, would get you. Normally, I would estimate a lot of New York City teams in particular to not be able to breach the 50% score mark. The majority of the teams in New York City will generally not be able to beat 50% of the score, right? So in this case, this would be 310. I think if you're doing, I think most likely, and this is purely hypothetical, in the previous years, I've had varying levels of how correct I've been as I've been predicting these things. But I think this year, if you aim for about 300, because if you do all of these basic missions and you'll do one that's like slightly more complicated, let's say we'll do the krill. Actually, no, the krill's really difficult. We'll do not that. That's hard. We could do those anglerfish. Yeah, I think if you hit probably at around 300 to 325, at least for your qualifier, you probably should be okay. When you get to the city championships, you will probably see teams hit about 450 to 500. But just to get past your qualifier, if you're hitting a consistent 300, 325, you're probably okay. I I would definitely emphasize aiming for that consistency rather than aiming for that peak score. You know, it's the same as doing an FRC bot where your intake simply refuses, like in prototyping, it was fine. And then you put it on your actual robot and it only intakes if you ram, like, if you ram it into one of the field walls. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. In the same vein, right? You want to aim for like consistency over like absolute performance. It doesn't mean anything if in a meeting you can score 450 points, but when you get onto the field and onto the table, you only end up scoring like 150. So I have all of my students in the past. I've always said that if you cannot get it working at least 4 out of 5 times, you're not done with the mission. It's not complete until you complete it 4 out of 5 times. Because if it has an 80% success rate, then even if you mess up once in one of your 3 robot runs, because you get 3 tries in the game, like during your competition day, statistically speaking, it will work. At least like it will work both of the other times. Usually. It doesn't always happen. So yeah, that's the majority of what I have for the robot game. If people have any questions, feel free to put in chat, or if you want to like unmute and talk, go for it. Otherwise, I'm gonna like move on to the research, the innovation project. And if you have, I mean, and if if you have questions and that occur to you later, feel free to just jump in. Better to have a question interrupt and be answered than to forget the question and not get an answer. This year's project, which if you're looking for what document contains the information about the innovation project, is in the challenge overview document. But the challenge overview document identify and research a problem related to exploring the oceans. Oh my God, I love this. This is actually one of my favorite research projects, like research topics that FLL has had in like years. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm super jazzed about it. So there are several things that you as a team need to do. Like the process that my teams took is first we would start with brainstorming different topics. So for this one, if I were to coach this year, I would have said, okay, in terms of exploring the oceans, what aspects are there of exploring oceans, right? So let me actually pull up a notepad. Oh, okay, I do have Notepad++ installed. Great. Okay, so let me zoom in. Okay, so topics in oceanic exploration, right? So within the various topics of oceanic exploration, right, there's like a lot of different things that exist out there. What? Whoa, there's no underlining. When I press Control U, it makes everything lowercase. Okay, so in terms of oceanic exploration, right, it's a really, really large field. So you can FLL is very I want to say like lackadaisical with how, like, as long as you can convince the judges that your topic is in some way connected, it is fine, right? So like there are lots of different topics. So there's one of them is like pollution, right? Wait, hold up. Exploring the oceans. Oh, actually, let's not do pollution. Let's do things like oh, what is it called? The bends. You know, it's when you like come up, when you like rise after like scuba diving too quickly, and then your body is like, no, because like nitrogen bubbles pop or something like that. So actually, I shouldn't say the bends, but there are like several like health issues, right? There are also things like connectivity, right? Connectivity is really difficult. If you're in well, I say cruise ship, they're not really exploring the ocean. They're exploring like a buffet on the ship. But you know, people who are on like long haul like oceanic missions, right? Like trying to get like connections to the mainland, or if you're communicating with people in the deep ocean, right? These are both difficult things. Let me see what else.
Animals and coral reefs.
Animals, huge. Wait, hold up. So the question is, so my question actually, when I look at this, is like, when it comes to a problem related to exploring the oceans, is it like a problem with people exploring the oceans? Because, oh, actually, you know what? No, that's true. Wait, no, that's true. Animals and reefs, right? Exploration can be potentially very destructive. Particular when it comes to like ship rotors, hitting animals, when it comes to sonar, absolutely obliterating like dolphins, like all of these things, like really bad. Pollution as a whole, plastic thing. So that's a pollution related thing, right? Material strength. Okay, so we can do like environmental conditions for the material strength thing. That's super down. Plastic things choking turtles, I would say, is actually not directly an oceanic exploration problem, right? That's an oceanic pollution problem that is separate from when you need to explore the oceans. Yeah, definitely like engineering related questions. So like we can, I guess, as a whole, engineering uh engineering problems. Um yeah, okay, most of the ocean not being explored yet. Well, that's fine, but it's like, well, what makes it hard for the ocean being explored? And a lot of it is like environmental conditions and health stuff, and you know what I mean? So like we have to look at like kind of topics overall. And you'll notice, right? All of these things that I'm saying initially are just broad topics because each one of these topics has various individual problems that that like are related to them. So I'll actually do the animals and Reese thing because I like animals. They are all incredibly tasty. I love seafood. Um, so we could do something like sonar, like liquefying whale organs. We could do boat strikes. We could do like boat like sewage dumping. Um, Overfishing is not related to oceanic exploration directly, right? Like it's not really a thing. Uh, well, no. It really isn't. Like a lot of this really is. Again, you have to focus on specifically oceanic exploration. This is really important, and because last year, when I was judging, there were a lot of teams who had like last year's theme was like how do you use the arts and the sciences, or arts and like engineering, arts and STEM to like better like involve or to like get people more involved or make it easier for people to like do your hobby, to get involved with your hobby, right? And it's very important that you have to connect your project to the topic directly. So if you can't do that, it's really it's a severe it really affects your judging performance massively. Um, right? So once you have these broad general topics, you can go through like individual like individual problems within each broad topic. And then once you have these topics, then the first step, which is like very important to demonstrate, is that you've done your research into convincing the judges that it is in fact a problem. So they usually the easiest way. Oops, the easiest way that I tend to have that done is with pre-existing solutions, right? It's a very easy way of looking up like so for example, sonar whale problems. Oh, cool, that works, right? So you need to like you need to do your best to like quantify. It is sort of similar to Cargo Connect. It's not like exactly. There are a lot of like parallel topics that you could look at, but uh, it's very important to do two things. One, you should look at quantifying the problem, making it like very well known that this is like a problem. What are its effects, as well as what are existing solutions, right? So like how do we protect whales from sonar? And the solution is to just not do it as much. I don't know, man. Um, I think this is this. So you go through like existing things, and then once you're done with that, then you can start developing your actual solution, like your solution, your innovation. I specifically chose like sonar liquefying whale organs because I don't think there actually is a solution. But if someone wants to like do a project with their team about this, and prove me wrong, I'd be so down. But I don't think there is a solution to this. Um, so yeah, like what so that's how you really get started. Realistically, this process of like coming up with topics, coming up with problems, and doing like the background research into this should only take you about 2 weeks. And by 2 weeks, I'm assuming one meeting per week. Um, that's I don't know how ambitious that is necessarily, but it should be very doable. And if you, especially if you're meeting more than once a week, this is like super, super, super doable to do this within 2 weeks. And you want to get this out of the, you want to get your topic selection and maybe have like a backup topic really, really quickly, because the majority of your time spent should be developing your project, building a prototype and contacting people. If you look at the rubric in the innovation project, one gigantic section, a whole fifth of the score, is dedicated to sharing. You're sharing it with people, either people who would be affected by it, people who would use it, just to get feedback on your idea, and then improving and having like iterative cycles based off of the feedback that you've been given. Specifically for New York City, so it's like one thing to like work and like interview someone, like interview them once, be like, hi, can I get your opinion on this? They go like, oh, okay, here are my thoughts. That's one thing. But if possible, it's a really good idea to develop like a working relationship with them, because there are teams who will actually work with the person and have like a continuing relationship with whatever expert to develop the solution together. And those, like, that's really, if you can do that, that really sets your team apart. And so the question is, who should you talk to? In New York City, we unfortunately don't really have like a large oceanic exploration industry. Oops, I guess, which is unfortunate. But there are two major places that you can look towards. One is NYC I don't know how to spell aquarium. It's fine. Guys, it's fine. English is my second language. Aquarium. The New York City Aquarium, right? And by extension, any of the New York City zoos, because they're all within like the WCF or whatever, the WFF, the Worldwide Wrestling Foundation. Yeah. They're all in the same organization, right? And they do a lot of work in like animal preservation, as well as like specifically things that would affect animals. So if you have a project that's around there, that's related even remotely to either animals or environmental conditions, the New York Aquarium is a great place to go. Has like lots of people. Also, field trips are fun, and they have fish. And big fan of fish. They are very tasty. The second thing that you should go for there are actually two colleges very close to New York City, or like in New York City or around New York City, that have marine engineering programs. The first one is Stevens Institute in Hoboken. They run a very strong naval or marine engineering. Where is Stevens? It's like here-ish. It's somewhere in Hoboken. It's walkable from the path. From personal experience, you can walk from the path. But it's like in this area. Wait, I can just look it up. Stevens there we go. Oh yeah. Perfect, right? So very good. They're right there. And the second one is my alma mater, which is SUNY Maritime. SUNY Maritime has both marine engineering as well as marine sciences. So they can handle both the animals and environmental bit, as well as like if you're working on materials related things, they will have that there. The ocean is big. That is a good topic. I like that one. The ocean is big. Sorry. Tangential thoughts. I strongly recommend doing something that's local. Obviously you can and should reach out further away, like outside of just New York City. But by getting someone from New York City, you allow three things really. One, you can get topics that might be more directly relevant to the local area, right? And FLL being a very localized program, it's good to get more directly relevant things. Two, you can do field trips. Field trips are a big plus, both in terms of encouraging your students, because going places is fun, but also like anything that you can do to do hands-on stuff is like, if possible, anything to do with hands-on stuff, super fun, super good. And it reflects well in judging. And the third reason is just because like you're more likely to get someone who like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're there in person, like being able to like be like, hi, we're also from New York City, just makes it easier to talk to them. I could be wrong, but that's generally the vibe I get. Could you do a boat harbor? That's a good question. New York doesn't really have a lot. Okay, I could be wrong. I am not the most informed on this, so I could be wrong. But it is my impression that New York no longer really has major ports that do these like expeditionary type things. If I had to choose like an ocean side or like a harbor or a place that actually has that would like launch ships, I would probably go either north or south. North to around this area, because if I recall correctly, Maine actually does a lot of oceanic expeditions, and south to either Norfolk or like somewhere in Maryland. Like I don't know if Baltimore, but it would be those two. The harbor school? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh wait, I totally forgot. Yeah. There is a high school. There's a high school on Governor's Island called the Harbor School. They're a charter high school, and they are like marine science. My brother actually went to it. He's like scuba diving. He's like certified scuba diver or something. I don't, whatever. But yeah. You can contact them. Absolutely. They have fish tanks in their school. I think. So I've heard. Yeah, that's perfect. Um, and the reason why it's a good idea to choose your topic early is so that you can talk to people as soon as the process starts, right? As soon as the process starts, you want to be able to build that relationship to get feedback early on. Hey, is this really a problem? Do you think that we should direct our focus somewhere else? Do you think we need to shift anything slightly? That way we have a better, like either a more realistic chance of solving something or something that maybe more directly affects like us here in New York City, anything like that. You want to start this process really, really early on. And the second reason is also because like some people are just really bad at like responding to emails. Like it happens, people are busy. So like the more time you give them to respond, the more time you'll have for that. And when I have my students I actually have my students be the ones who like send out the emails normally. I usually have them draft. I'll have them like draft something, and then I'll like be like good, bad, whatever, and then usually I'll send it out and CC it to all the kids. It is also a good idea to leverage whatever connections the team's parents have, right? If you have if there are parents of team members that are even remotely like that are in like careers or companies that are even remotely related to the topic, it's a good idea to just be like, hi, could you like connect us with like someone, or do you have any ideas on who we should talk to? Very important, very, very like easy, low commitment kind of like you just do it, and if nothing comes back, it's not a big deal. If something does come back, then that's great. There are whales in the wait, really? Wait, no
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
Whoa! Awesome. Sick. Super cool. That's awesome. Big fan of whales. They're so cool. Um, but yeah, that's the major thing. And make sure that all of like when you do this process, right, you're being very what do you call it? What's the word? You're documenting everything, right? Because when you're constructing your presentation, you don't want to have to like make up things and then the judges will ask a question and you can just go like, that actually didn't happen. Like you want to document everything so it's easy to put together your presentation, and so that you can prove very definitively that like your students were the ones who did the work. Um, yeah. Um, the only other thing I would say is that your timelines should end roughly like your work timelines should end roughly 1 month before your your competition, your qualifier date. And the reason for that is because you want your kids to be very confident in their presentations, right? You want them to be able to go in, you want them to be able to talk confidently. It's a very good idea to try to have them memorize things as much as possible. Because kids looking at scripts is a lot less engaging than kids like looking at the judges and being like animated and that. So try to finish. So most of the qualifiers are typically start like the week after kickoff. So in this case, that would be January 11th, right, and go into the 8th. So it's like whatever the month is before that, give them like that winter vacation time to really like memorize and practice, and then when you come back from the winter break to really hammer in just like practice Q&A. I will make it known to everyone here that if whatever team you're mentoring or coaching wants help during the presentation process, I have no problems. Just like shoot me an email or something, and I'll like I love doing Q&A practice. That's like my favorite thing. So especially when it comes to like presentation, like not just like making the presentation, when it comes to like practicing the presentation, if you want assistance for that, I'm like super down. That's like my favorite thing. And also when it comes to this, the other piece of advice I'd give is probably like detailed model or drawing that represents the solution. If you have something, no, I take it back. Regardless of whatever your solution is, having a physical object, whether it is functional or not, is a wildly helpful thing. One, judges are very easy to impress. I would know, I am a judge. I'm very easy to impress. If you have a thing and it like even remotely works or like demonstrates even a little bit that it's like close, it has like some facsimile of functionality. Oh my God, I'm like over the moon, you know? So do your best to actually like have a physical prototype of whatever you are doing. It does not need to be made out of Legos. The innovation project and the robot design are basically two completely separate parts of this competition. So don't like, if you're going to build something, it does not need to be like Lego related. Like my kids last year mainly used like Arduinos as our like thing. Like we had like a table tennis thing and we used Arduinos and LED strip for that. And then my one of my other teams did like an Arduino on a glove with like Hall effect sensors. Yeah. Like it does not have to be Lego related at all. Yeah, that's it. That's what I have. I think that's like a good start in terms of like, yes, very true. What Shelly said is true. Shelly says a model for your project really helps judges visualize what your project is and helps the kids explain it. 100%, 300%. And it's fun. And it's fun. And it's so fun. So true. So that's all I have. So that's really all I wanted to go through. It's like some like just an example of going through like what some of the topics are, choosing problems within the topics, and then because that's really what you need to start with. And once you go from there, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Not self-explanatory, but it's a lot more streamlined once you get past this stage. If you're having trouble there is an engineering notebook which should come with your, it's online here, but it also like you'll get physical ones. If you're having trouble like structuring your meetings, or like trying to figure out like where figure out how to structure things or how you should order things, then the engineering notebook actually does kind of go through like one after the other, like one thing at a time. So it is helpful. I have not used this ever, but if you're like really, really like you've got nothing, you've got no idea what you're doing, it is perfectly fine to follow the stuff inside the engineering notebook. It's not bad. And also if you're stuck, I did not update my units. Is this ready yet? No, it's not ready yet. Okay. In addition to that, it is also in addition when it comes to like the robot game, every year they will also give you something called a guided mission. Oh, well, I guess I can't show it to you. It's fine. Typically, and you could see this from last year. Last year, like every year, they'll give you in Spike Prime, they'll give you this, which not only includes like how to build like a basic attachment, but it should help. Where are you? Oh, guided mission. It will also tell you like how to like do a single mission. See, it just gives you the whole code. Like it's just all here. It's here. So if you're really, really stuck, this exists as a resource. But it does use like the basic driving base. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Do you have any questions, any comments, anything? This year's actually so cool. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what the teams are going to come up with. And I also like for real, and this goes for everyone here, whether you are a coach, whether you're from 9636, whether you're from 694, whether you're from anywhere, right? Like if you're working with a team and you need assistance or you're stuck, you guys are all free. Feel free to reach out to me. For 694 people can all reach out to me over Slack. 9636 people can all reach out to me over Discord. Everyone else, I'm sure someone will give you my email or something, or I can just put my email in the chat. That's fine. Yeah, I'll drop my email. That's smart. That's my email. You're free to email. You're like truly free. Like my largest complaint about New York City robotics is that New York City robotics is like so much worse than everywhere else, and the solution is not for me to keep complaining about it, but for me to actually help people. So like I'm so down to like help people. It's great. It's a lot of fun for me. But I hope I can be helpful to you as a resource. At any stage, really at any stage of the process. And I think this goes a lot for like the FTC or people with FTC or FRC experience here. Like New York City FLL is getting better at like a remarkable pace. Even compared to like the increasing quality of like FRC teams and actually I don't know anything about FTC, but compared to like the increasing quality of the average FRC team in New York City, like FLL is going up at an even higher rate. So you guys can all play an instrumental role in really bringing up New York City's robotics community. And as long as you have a will to assist, then I'm sure that you will do great things. Specifically to people who are mentoring, there are some things. Hold on. Oh, plug out. Okay. There are some things to keep in mind, right? Like when you are mentoring, it just like your mentors on FRC, it is really important that you understand that this is not your competition, right? Work with the coach, collaborate, coordinate with the coach so that you guys understand where the coaches want their boundaries to be at, right? Some coaches really, really like being super hands-on. Some coaches are really hands-off. Work with your coach to make sure that your mentoring is a good and healthy experience for everyone involved on the team, right? It's not your competition. You are there to assist. That being said, I've had great experiences with all of my FRC mentors who have helped my teams, so I'm not concerned. I think you guys will do. I think you guys are all going to do wonderfully. But yeah, okay, that's it. That's all I got. If anyone has any remaining questions or whatever, you could feel free to drop them or unmute and talk. Otherwise, we're chilling.